Hello and welcome to the Sharp 600 brought to you by Covers.com. I'm your host, Jason Logan. How's it going? Thank you for joining us here today on the Tuesday edition of the podcast. As we march forward in the NFL playoffs, we start to size up these divisional round matchups, the opening odds, any early bets or leans that we may have for the four games on the Saturday and the Sunday. And as for the wild card round and our podcast picks, kind of an up and down ride on the Saturday and Sunday and Monday, but we did hit a few plus money winners. We hit our Team 600 teaser thanks to that fourth quarter surge from Tampa Bay last night. And we also had CD Lamb touchdown last night, courtesy of my man Dell, producer here at the Sharp 600. And Eagles fan, I suppose you enjoyed kind of sitting back and watching the rest of us scratch and claw this weekend. But now you get the Giants. How you feel about that matchup?
I'm happy it's not, well, I hate to say it. I'm actually happy it's not the Cowboys because the Giants are worse than the Cowboys. But it would be fun to get the Cowboys in the NFC Championship. That would be fun.
Yes, that'd be like I said. We really want that Eagles Dallas matchup because we've had two games, backup quarterbacks. We haven't really got the full show yet.
Definitely. How are you feeling about those Niners?
We're going to get to that in the later on in the podcast. We're going to talk about that game a little bit. Might be some interest in that one. Dallas, that game last night looked good. Felt pretty good on both sides of the ball. I'm like all things as a Cowboys fan, it's kind of like hesitant or like kind of you're protective about your optimism. You don't want to get too over the top because we have seen this team break our hearts. Even last night, as they were going up, I was like, "Oh man, Tampa Bay's totally going to come back." So,
you need consistency.
Yes, we've also been burned so many times. So we'll see what happens. But an absolute tough spot for Dallas. And we're going to talk about that as we get going. And before we do start the show, please, if you have a second, rate and review the Sharp 600 podcast. We would love that. Give it the stars, give it the thumbs up, whatever you need to do. Leave a comment, let us know your feedback, whatever you have time for. We would much appreciate that. And with it out of the way, 600 seconds on the clock, please.
Boy, that escalated quickly.
All right, like all good stories, we start at the beginning, and the first divisional round dance of the weekend is that 4:30 p.m. kickoff Saturday at Arrowhead Stadium. Kansas City opened as big as -10 against the Jags, and since then this spread has slid down to as low as -8. It's a 2-point move, while notable, not as impactful as we did see many spots start. Kansas City -9.5 and then drop through the dead numbers down to 8. There's some 8.5, some 9 still out there. Shop around if you like those bonus points with the Jags. The opener of 9.5, 10, pretty much right on where we saw the Week 10 meeting between these two teams close. That was a pretty good number as the Chiefs won 27-17. It pushed with the closer of 10 points. But the Jags were on a big slide at that point in the season. They snapped a 5-game skid. In the game prior, they had a big come-from-behind win against Vegas at home. They've been known for those. And, they could have easily been on a 6-game slide at that point. And now you have them playing better football, playing postseason football. At that. And then Kansas City, they got a bye week. How much is that really worth to the spread? We'll see, but I understand the line moved down for sure. The total for this one, 51.5 up to 53. Chiefs won the first meeting 27-17, as we mentioned, versus a closing total of 51.5 points, stayed below that number. We talked about the Jaguars against elite passers and how their defense really benefited from a soft QB slate to end the year. Now, Herbert kind of had a strange day against them in the wild card round. Mahomes, though, this is a guy who's the best of the best. He toasted them back in Week 10, a big passing game from him. No bets for me on this one just yet, but maybe looking at some Mahomes overs. The New York Giants take on your Philadelphia Eagles, Dell, in that late game on Saturday. Kickoff 8:15 p.m. in Philly. Spread open Eagles -7.5 after the Giants upset over Minnesota. And maybe call it recency bias. Or, the Giants look pretty damn good in that game. And the Eagles have been out of people's minds as they have the bye week and weren't playing well towards the end of the season. But anyway, this spread dipped to a touchdown. But since then, it has come back with that half-point hook back on Philly, sitting at a cheaper -7.5 favorite. Playing the Giants for the second time in 3 weeks. The total move definitely does reflect a healthier Jalen Hurts, who looked a little bit shaky in that last game against the Giants. Didn't look fully healthy. The defense a bit wobbly from Philadelphia in the closing weeks too. The divisional round number at 46.5 has been bet up to 48.5, which is pretty big. In this Eagles defense, I'll say, while ranked out well, it has been helped a lot by the offense this season, playing with big leads against teams that basically had to abandon the run to catch up. And Philadelphia has been rolled by the run at times, especially when the offense has got stuck in mud. They've allowed ground gains of 129, 129, 115, and 157 over the last 4 games. They've failed to cover in each of those 4 games as well, too. They are number 4 in EPA per play overall defense, but 21st in EPA allowed per handoff. They beat New York back in week 14. They won 48-22, jumped out to a big lead early on, 21-0. Giants only ran the ball 24 times. It kind of played into that. Now, I will say the Giants playing much better defensively since that week 14 matchup. Some different game planning from Wink Martindale as well, too, not just blitz all out and man on man. 13th in EPA per dropback, so defending the pass pretty well. Can they defend A.J. Brown man-to-man? And he is a guy who has beaten them in just some limited work, broken off some big shots, found the end zone against them. So A.J. Brown has done some damage to the Giants and just some limited work. As I said, Brown props are definitely going to be live on Saturday. The Sunday schedule starts with Cincinnati and Buffalo. Of course, these teams met in Week 17. The Damar Hamlin incident happened. That suspended play eventually led to the game being canceled. Now, the Bengals had closed as short underdogs at home in that contest between +1 and +2.5. This playoff spread opened as low as Bills -3.5. We saw a move to 4 on Sunday night, and from there, this spread has been moved all the way up to Buffalo -5. Now, the line move, not as consequential as you think, because it goes through all those dead numbers. The Bengals have some injuries on their offensive line, lost a lot of steam on offense as well, too, after torching foes in the final month of the schedule. And maybe that has something to do with playing Baltimore, who is a divisional foe that knows them really well and a very, very good defense. But we've saw yardage totals of 257, 234 the past 2 games, a collective 51 points, but 14 of those points came from defensive touchdowns. That leaves just 37 points from the offense in the last 2 games. You're looking at like 18.5 points per game. They've also gone with power outages on offense, too, in recent weeks. They scored 22 points in the first half versus New Orleans. Week 16, they were shut out in the second half. They had only 3 points in the first half versus Tampa Bay. Then they erupted for 31 points in the second half. Just the offense not clicking for a full 60 minutes. I bet the under 50.5 on Sunday night when the odds came out. It was my bet now total of my bet now, bet later column that comes out on Sunday nights. This total has since dropped to 48 points with help from winter weather that's going to be showing up in Orchard Park. It looks like it's going to be cold, looks like possible snow. Now the wind ranges depending on where you get your weather reports. We could see winds of 27 miles per hour, gusts up to 35. So, take a look at the wind. But definitely it is dropping this total right now. And then we're going to talk finale. The divisional round has Dallas in Santa Clara taking on the Niners, the last game on Sunday. This one opened San Francisco -4 with the Cowboys. After the Cowboys crushed the Bucs on Monday night, we saw a move to 3.5 with some early action on Dallas, and then right back to 4, and then followed up with another dip to 3.5. A discount on the juice for the favorite right now. So still some 4s out there if you're looking to shop around. Now the Cowboys, they looked great. But, I will say it was the Buccaneers who have very much struggled with consistency all season. And if not for that divisional ticket, they might have not been in the tournament. So Dallas's defense, excellent. But now you face this relentless Niners team and a team that took the Cowboys out of the playoff in last year's wild card round. San Francisco's defense stymied the Cowboys' offense in that game. They had 5 sacks. They stuffed the run. They dominated time of possession with 34 minutes. With the football in that game. They won 23-17, but the score does not indicate how kind of one-sided that game was. And Dallas was a 3.5-point favorite in that wildcard game. The big edge here is the rest and the prep. The Niners played Saturday in a game in which they broke it open in the second half against Seattle. And now they've had a 2-day head start to recover, to rest, and to prep, and then playing at home. And then you've got Dallas has to play on Monday, then has to fly back home from Tampa, has to get a trip into California at some time this week, and is going to be playing its 4th straight road game. And then you've got to prep for one of the most difficult playbooks on both sides of the football in the NFL. Now, the Dallas defense, it is a step up for Brock Purdy against teams, over teams like Arizona, Las Vegas, Seattle, the teams that he's beat recently. But we've seen Dallas kind of give up big yards to some ho-hum quarterbacks. Daniel Jones, Josh Dobbs, Minshew, Davis Mills, Sam Howell, all had success against the Cowboys towards the end of the year. I'm a Cowboys fan, and I love to see what I saw last night, and I want them to win. But I did take San Francisco money line minus 192. It is down to like minus 180, minus 190 range for a few reasons here. So there's that rest and prep edge. San Francisco is at home. Dallas playing a 4th straight road game. The Niners playing amazing two-way football right now. So you're getting a good spot with them. And then the dreaded 4-point spread, as we talked about before on the show. 4-point favorites just don't cover. So I'm going to keep it simple. I'm going to go San Francisco money line below the 2-1. The bonus bet for this one has to be successful 2-point conversion at plus 330. That's at bet 365. Brett Maher has the yips. They say they're going to stick with him. If he's going to be missing extra points, they're going to have to go for 2 at some point in this game. So I think there's good value there. 2-minute drill. Season coming to a close for a number of teams, and that means the off-season markets are picking up. And one of the most popular off-season markets are these next team markets. And of course, Tom Brady put to bed last night. Is his career coming to a close? You can wager on his next team. And Tampa Bay is a plus 200 favorite to be his home for the 23-24 season. Las Vegas and former OC Josh McDaniels right there, plus 250 with Derek Carr out of the picture. They have some nice skill players. They have Devontae Adams. San Francisco, which would be a homecoming for Brady in California, plus 350. And a second term with the Patriots paying out a plus 750. Along with Miami, which is also plus 750. For me, though, the sleeper is Tennessee at plus 1,500. You got his old buddy, Mike Vrabel. He's the head coach there. You got some skilled players in place. You got Derrick Henry. I love Treylon Burks, the rookie receiver. And then the AFC South is pretty much ripe for the picking. You've got Jacksonville as basically your biggest competition. So the other big QB name making the rounds is Lamar Jackson, who was without a contract for the Ravens. Staring down the franchise tag, I think they franchise tag him, and then I think he says he's not going to play. He holds out and doesn't play the year. Kind of pulls a Le'Veon Bell. But the odds out there are, if not Baltimore, then who? And the Jets are the favorites at plus 250, ahead of Atlanta plus 350 and Vegas plus 750. Carolina, too, could be a nice fit there, especially if they are able to land a good offensive coordinator and a good head coach. Ben McAdoo is the coach there, or the OC there, but I don't think he's going to remain there as well. And Derek Carr is the other big name, and kind of a shocker to be out of a job in Vegas. And he has the no trade clause. He has to agree to a move. The Raiders have to move quick, too. They have to deal him before February 15th or a big $40.4 million guarantee kicks in. But you can get Carr. Jets and Colts are the favorites, plus 400, plus 425 to deal Carr at Tennessee, plus 650. New Orleans, plus 80. Tampa Bay, plus 1,000. And Washington, plus 900. Also, the sleeper here, and I know the 2-minute drill went, but I knew the horn went, but I still got to keep going. The sleeper here is Green Bay, plus 3,000. Aaron Rodgers' future with the Packers may be up in the air. Maybe he's part of a deal. Maybe he retires. Maybe you deal him to Vegas. Carr is part of that package. You got reunite with Devontae Adams. They play inside. No more of this stupid Green Bay winners for Rodgers. Could be a sleeper there. It's some plus 3,000 payout. All right, that is it for this episode of the Sharp 600. Thank you, Dell. Thank you for tuning in. Remember, rate and review the podcast when you get a second. That would mean a whole bunch to us here. And we're going to be back for the Friday show, a butt ton of divisional round bets, including the Team 600 teaser and action reports from the Las Vegas Superbook. Until then, good luck.